Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Cosmoki. In this lecture, I'll be discussing about the today's question which has appeared in the Leetcode contest, that is number of subarrays that match a pattern to. So the question says we are given a zero indexed integer array nums of size n and a zero indexed integer array pattern of size m consisting of integers -1, 0 and 1. We must return the number of subarrays which are formed by fulfilling the following conditions. And the conditions are this. You can see it says in the first condition that if pattern at k is equals to 1, then it must satisfy this statement. You can see here. Basically what it is saying, I am explaining it through the notepad. Let's consider an example. Considering the nums array given as 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6 and again 2. And the pattern array is given as 1, 0, -1. So, first of all, what we need to see is, we need to see if we are able to get this pattern from this whole array. What it means is, consider all the elements of this given array. You can see, as we start traversing from the first element, we can see that this is the increasing element, as 1 is smaller than 2. This is the increasing element. From here to here, we are able to see an increment. Similarly, from here to here, we are able to see an increment. Similarly, here to and here to. But for this, we can see we have two numbers as similar. That means these are the same. So, in this case, we will be assuming here as 0. And for the cases where I have assumed that incrementation is being done, for these cases we will be putting 1. And for cases where the first element is greater than the second one, we will be writing the -1 over here. So what basically this information is going to tell me that what pattern we are getting from the following sequence of numbers. And we want our pattern to be from 1, 0 to -1. We want that we should be able to see all those numbers which follow this whole pattern. Can we see any of the subarray in this whole array of 1 and 0 and -1? Are we able to see any such pattern similar to 1, 0 and -1? Yes, we can see this one. From last, by considering the numbers from 4, 6, 6 and 2, we can see all these 4 numbers are following the similar kind of pattern. Hence, we need to return the answer as 1 because we are able to find only one such subarray. That's why we'll be returning the answer as 1. Actually, we have to return the count of such subarrays which follow the similar kind of pattern. Let's take another example for understanding the question. Consider the very first example of the question, which is also being given. So in this case, we have to first take the information of like 1, 0 and -1 pattern as I have calculated in the first example. We can see here to here it is increment. Similarly for other also, the whole array, pattern array that we are going to get from the nums array will be this. Actually, it will be 5 because we have 6 elements. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yeah, so we'll be getting all the 5 ones because this whole array is an incrementing array. It's again, it's monotonic in nature. And for pattern, we need to see that are we getting this pattern in the subarray and how many times we are getting. We need to count and we need to return that for how many time we are going to get this pattern. You can see Let me change the color. You can see one such subarray is this, another is this, another is this, and this is the last one. So the count of subarrays, or the answer which we need to return in this case, is 4, because there are 4 such subarrays following the pattern given in the question. Alright, so I hope you must have understood the question. Now, one such thing is that there are 2 parts for the question. The second question of the today's Leetcode contest was based on the first part, and the last one was based on the second part. Now, what was the difference between the two? That for first part, they have like they have given the very less range for value of n. It was around, I think, 110, or I think 100. The value of n was 1 to 100, I believe. And for second part, the range for n was very large. So basically, this difference is actually telling that this question can be solved using 2 methods. One will be the naive approach, or the brute force, and the second will be the optimized approach. And I am going to discuss both the approaches in this video. So I'll be starting with the naive approach. Basically, what we'll be doing for this question, I'm considering one example for your understanding. So you can see we need to return answer as 4 in this case. So the easiest and the simplest way to solve this question by using the brute force approach will be that we'll be calculating the pattern array for the nums array. Pattern array 2. We'll be naming it as pat2. And we'll be calculating this pattern for the nums array. So it will be like we'll be comparing each element, like 2 is greater than 1. So we have to add 1 over here, because in the question you can see, let me make you revise the question again. In the question, what they've said is that if we are able to satisfy this condition that the second element is greater than the first element, then the pattern at k will be equals to 1. If the elements are similar, then it will be 0. If the first one is greater than the second, then it will be minus 1. Similarly, we'll be doing it for pattern 2. We have 1 here because it is second one is greater. Similarly, for further elements, we'll be getting the pat2 as a observatory array for the nums. How I have calculated this? You just need to refer to this loop. Just compare whether the array, I'm taking it as not array, it's num. Yeah, whether it's nums at I plus 1 greater than nums at I. Then you just need to take another array considering txt dot push back 1. Similarly for other also. Else if these two elements are equal, then we'll be inserting 0, and for the last case we'll be inserting minus 1. So we have constructed this another pattern array. Now we'll be using for calculating the answer. How we'll be using it? We need to check how many times are we able to get this pattern array, and that will be done through the brute force approach. Like we'll be traversing each and every element. We'll be checking like if this element is equals to this element, like if these are matching, not we don't need to compare the consecutive elements over here. We need to compare pat2 array and the pattern1 array. Pattern1 was the one which was already given in the question. So we need to check both these arrays. This was the second one. First one was this. Now we need to use two pointers. First I and then j. I will be used for the second pattern array and the j will be used for this. You can take either of them. It depends upon your choice. Now we will be checking and comparing. If this is equals to this, then we will be incremented I and j. Similarly, if this is equals to this, then incrementing I and j again. As soon as we are able to see that we are exceeding the limit of the array, that means we have reached the length of the array. At that moment of time, we will be incrementing the answer variable from 0 to 1. This means that yes, we have got one pattern in the array of the following patterns. We are able to get this one pattern. Similarly, now we need to, as soon as we are getting, if j is equals to m, wait a minute, we need to check this condition. We need to check if we are able to reach till the length of the pattern array. And yes, in this case, we are able to reach till the length of the array. So we will be again putting j as equals to 0. We need to start checking it from the 0 itself again. Now, in this case, what we need to do is, I is reached over here. Now we need to check again, like from here. Now, because I has been reached here, what we need to do? We need to consider the previous elements too, because there even exists this pattern also. We cannot leave it. So we need to make I decrement it again to its previous position for checking it again. So in this way, we'll be able to get answer as 4. So this was a naive approach. This can be implemented, and the complexity will be in exponential. Like it will be not exponential, but yeah, it might reach to n square or n cube, depending on the number of loops you are using. Now let's discuss about the optimized approach. What we need to do in this, one thing we need to understand, that for pattern array, we can optimize the overlapping comparisons. What I mean is that again and again, what we are doing in pattern array, even in naive solution also, you must have observed. I believe that you must pause this video once and then start writing your code for the naive approach. And after writing that naive approach solution, you should revisit the solution of my video from here itself. So you can see that again and again, we need to check, we need to compare both the arrays in such a way that there are overlapping comparisons. What I mean is that in this case also, you must have observed, yeah, here again and again you were comparing, like is it equals to this, and then comparing this and this. So there can be another solution for it, and which is the optimized one. Basically the idea is to use the KMP algorithm, which is the most famous algorithm for pattern matching problems. We'll be using the basic idea of pattern matching algorithm of KMP. So what we need to do is, we need to consider a pattern array for LPS. We need to make an LPS array. Now let me introduce what is LPS. For constructing LPS array, we need to find that how many times, like we have to find the longest prefix and the longest suffix which is the same. What I meant is, consider this example. Yeah. So for this kind of pattern, if I'll be considering the LPS array, what I need to find is, for the first element it will always be 0. Now we need to see, like the first element which is 1, for this we will be only taking 0. For the second element, you can see that, are you able to see the similar element before it? Like we are not having 0 again before it, we are having 1. That means these are not at all similar. So for 0 it will be again 0. Similarly for -1, are we able to see -1 again, or 0 -1? This kind of pattern again. Basically what we are searching is, we are able to find, for every index we are searching for such a array which is longest prefix as well as longest suffix at the same time. So again it will be 0. Now you can see, till here we are able to see that we are getting two similar elements, like 1 here also and 1 here also. So we have basically found out a longest prefix which is also a suffix of length 1, consisting of element as 1, because we are having this 1 over here also, 1 over here also. This is acting as prefix, this is acting as suffix. Similarly, incrementing, again we can see we are able to get 0. Now are you able to find 0 over here? Yeah. Now you can see we are able to get 1 0 here too and here also. That means till now the longest prefix, which is also the suffix, has become of length 2 till this index. Till the 0th index we are able to get prefix and suffix of longest size as 2. So here we will be writing it as 2. Basically we are maintaining the length in this array, length of elements till now. Now after incrementing it over here, we can see we are not getting any such combination like 101 in the here or in the previous part, in the prefix part we are not able to get this 101. So again it will be 0, not 0, because we are able to get 1 over here also. So it won't be 0 but it will be 1. But here you can see we are able to get 1 0, combination of 1 0 is found here also and here also. That's why it will be updated to 2 again. So this LPS array is going to help us, which will help us optimizing the comparisons. We don't need to compare the pattern again and again, which we have already found in the previous iterations. Alright, then we'll be using this LPS array. Let me take you to the code. You can see what I have done is, I have created this text vector for storing the pattern which has been observed from the nums array. Then I have applied the KMP search algorithm. After applying the KMP search algorithm, we need to construct the LPS array, which I have just discussed over now. You can see, for this I have created a different function, and this is the code for it. We need to compare each and every character as I have told and discussed now. After constructing the LPS array, we need to check each and every element if it's present and if it's not present. And so we need to return the answer at the last. I hope you must have understood my concept, and the time complexity in this case has been reduced. for KMP algorithm, the complexity would have reached to n plus m, where n will be the length of the text array or the T array, and the m will be the complexity of pattern array. I hope you would have liked my video. Your suggestions would be appreciated. Thank you so much.